My dad's a man's man, too. My dad's a guy's guy. My dad's a New York City firefighter and a blue-collar Republican. I'm a New York City liberal, and I do this for a living. I know, it is funny. Sometimes I do think to myself, like, is there any way you could be a bigger disappointment to your New York City firefighter father? Then I think, yeah, gay terrorists. Which, by the way, is what my dad calls a yoga instructor, so. Very progressive, man. My dad, like, I love my dad. I love hanging out with my dad. The only problem is when we hang out, sometimes my dad's guy friends come, and they're all like the types of guys who would like smack a chick on the ass and be like, hey, what's the matter with me? What's the matter with you? That's a compliment. You should smile more. You got a pretty face. Gentlemen. And we were at this Yankees game a couple summers ago, and this dude was like, hey, what do you do for a living, pal? Huh? What do you do? You make something with your hands? What do you do? And I was like, oh, I'm never gonna tell you. And he was like, come on, what do you do? And my dad, the Judas, told me out immediately. He's like, oh, him? He's a comedian. And they're like, oh, you comedian? Tell us a joke. Funny guy. Come on, Andrew Dice Clay, tell us a joke. To which I was like, oh, no. And that guy got pissed. He was like, sure, whatever, you're a comedian. Then he got up to get everyone else beers. But right before he leaves, he just leans in, taps me, and goes, woof, I'm sweating like a Jew in an audit here. Yeah, and they all start hysterical laughing. And then another one of them taps me and goes, now that's a comedian. No, it's not. That's just a racist with good timing. That's it. Have you ever seen one of those dudes who works out but does no cardio, so he just looks like someone ripped the arms off a He-Man and put him on a Mr. Potato Head? That was that dude, mustache and all. And he kept bragging. He kept bragging the whole game about how he got laid the night before, and he was like, last night, I totally did it with this chick, and then she left stuff in my apartment so she could come back so we could do it again. And I was like, are you sure it wasn't because she was like, oh, I gotta get the fuck out of here. The fucked up part is, though, is guys like that guy and guys like my dad make the best dads. Mostly because of the fact that their kids fear them. Like, that's not gonna be the case for my generation. Like, none of our kids are gonna fear us. Mostly because of the fact that none of us are gonna work the kinds of jobs you come home and beat your kids from. Like, nobody comes home from a hard day of graphic designing and beats their kid. Like, you've never heard anyone be like, oh no, look out, Dad's Photoshop crashed. My dad's idiot friend, too, is one of those dudes who rocks a pop collar. You ever see one of those gentlemen? Oof. Yeah, by the way, if you don't know what the pop collar means, basically what the pop collar means is that guy is 2 Bud Light Limes away from telling you what he really thinks about Puerto Ricans. He's racist. That's not a pop collar as much as it is a reverse Ku Klux Klan hoodie. And for some reason, it's salmon. And this dude was like, dude, let me give you a little bit of advice. And I was like, oh, I totally want advice from a man who's dressed like a dog that just got back from the vet. What's up? And he was like, when you date a chick, you gotta date a chick who loves sports. A chick who loves sports. And his whole logic was, it's like being with one of the guys. It's like being with one of the guys. I don't know, me personally, anytime I'm fucking anybody, I want it to be like none of the guys. Like you're never gonna hear me say like, oh, wait until you meet my new girlfriend Jessica. You'll totally love her. She'll totally remind you of Greg. It's not gonna happen. I did one time go out on a date with a woman who loves sports, and it clearly went terrible, because I'm like this guy, you know what I mean? And about halfway through the date, at one point this lady just turned to me, and to my face, she just went, you know, they don't make men like they used to anymore. Yeah, I know, to my face. But the fucked up part is I totally had to agree with her. Because if they did, I would have had to hit her for having an opinion on men. To be very clear, that is a joke about how I don't hit women. My dad's idiot friend found out I was getting divorced at the time, too. And he's like, oh, bro, you getting divorced? You better be careful, because if you end up getting divorced, she could get half of your shit. And I was like, really? That actually sounds pretty good, because right now she already has all of my shit. I'd love to get some of that back. Also, by the way, when you're broke and you're going through a divorce, it's not like you have a lot of shit to split up. It's like, oh, do you want this half-used spool of burnt CDs or this D battery? Yeah, I let her keep the D battery. This way she can put it in her vibrator and go fuck herself.
Oh.
That's my favorite one, too. Also, by the way, none of you ladies come up to me after the show and be like, hey, just so you know, vibrators don't take D batteries, they take AAAs. I know that shit. Also, get yourself a fucking rechargeable. You can come and save the environment at the same time. You plug that little USB end in to the end of your laptop while you watch porn. Kill 2 clits with 1 stone.